Well, hello and welcome to our backyard garden here in the South Carolina upstate. Today is our 41st episode of the season. Coming down to the end, there isn't a lot left, but there's still a few things worth showing off here. Just since last week, our daisies finished up, so no more of those for the season. And most of the other things are done with the exception of a few cleome here in the upper segments. So we'll get started and show off the few things that are left. It's a beautiful Saturday, crystal clear skies, and supposed to be close to 70 today. We did have a little bit of rain this week, and otherwise that probably was the only lingering effect of that is a lot of the leaves fell off. If you look at our birch trees in the back, they're pretty much done. Had some nice yellow leaves, but those are all gone now, and across the other side of the pond, a lot of the color that we had is no longer there, but still things are going well. The new grass that we had seeded is looking great. We had that done about a month ago. We're just letting it grow out. Probably need to have it mowed one more time before we call it quits for the year. But a lot of new shoots and looking really nice. So hopefully things will stay green for a while until we get our first frost, which we still haven't had yet. Last year we had our first frost by October 15th. This year we're a month beyond that and still haven't had one. It's going to be another week at least before we get one. We'll be back down in the 30s in the week, but I don't know if we'll get down to 32 or not. Now here we have a close-up of our cleome, still blooming. We only have a couple left that are still blooming, although the fun thing is we have a lot of plants that are just getting started. Like back up here in the stones, these have all just gotten seeded from the ones that were up in this area. And so it's kind of interesting. They do not seem to be tied to the weather. They just, once they get planted, or the seeds get planted, they just come up and start blooming. So I think once we get our first frost again, they will probably finish up. But for the time being, we're still getting some really nice color out of them. And then speaking of nice color, we saw in the front yard, all of our zinnias are pretty much finished. But here, even though our zinnia plants are not looking great, they're still putting out a few of these nice pink flowers. So still hanging on. We have this beautiful celosia here. A friend gave this to us, and one of our viewers let me know that it was a celosia. I honestly did not know what it was, and it's doing really well. In fact, considering the time of year, it still has buds on it, so if we don't get a frost, we may still continue to get some more flowers. We have a little petite knockout rose here. We have three of them, two of them in the back, one in the front. The one in the front has done the best by far. This is the other one. It's really not looking too good right now. You can barely even see it. Most of the things in this area have kind of finished up for the year, with the exception of our azaleas, which have been doing their fall bloom for several weeks now. This goes back to, I would say, probably late September, early October. I cannot remember offhand. I have to look back through the videos to see if they were blooming before the hurricane, which was the last couple of days of September. I think they might have come out after that, but still, I think we're at about 6 weeks or maybe a little bit more on these. We have 6 azaleas back here, and they just keep blooming. Once we get our frost, of course, those will be done, but for the time being, they're still doing really well. Also doing well are these begonias. In fact, if anything, they are more, what do I say? They're more in bloom now than they were a month ago. So we're still getting some nice color there. Our impatiens are still going, but they are not, I would not say they're thriving. Every week I see fewer and fewer flowers. The stalks are just getting really spindly. And they kind of peak in September typically, and then normally we start to see a frost not long after that, and they die off. But even though they're not dying off, I think the shorter days are just taking a toll. And so coming on over here, not a lot going on. We had this big knockout rose, which beavers ate down to the ground back in the midsummer, and it has come back. It was completely awash with color about maybe 6 weeks ago, but that's all pretty much finished now, and it's just kind of waiting to come back next year. A few zinnias left. I don't think we'll get any more new zinnias, but the ones that are blooming hopefully will continue for a while. Got a nice gardenia over here, which should start to bloom about 3 months from now. Depending on the winter weather that we have, it might even be a couple months. We've had sometimes some blooms in mid-January, and again, that is only 2 months from now. So as soon as we start to get color, we'll start doing these videos again. I'm going to say we've got 1 or 2 weeks left here this year, depending on what there is. As long as there's something to look at, we'll come out and do these, but you never know. Every year's a little bit different. Got some big vinca here doing really well, and then this little flower here is primarily a morning flower. I don't know the name of it, but I'm guessing it's a type of spiderwort. The flowers look like that, both in color and shape. So they have those interesting purple leaves, or purplish green, and they only bloom in the spring. So a lot of times, they only bloom in summer and in the mornings. And so I frequently miss them. But more zinnias here. I do have a nice big red rose. It's a couple days past its prime, but we'll continue to get a few blooms on those, probably for the next week or two. Another daisy that's all finished up. We had some clematis in here that we're doing really well, considering that they're fall vines. We've got just a big mix of clematis and jasmine and climbing roses all through here. It's just a big massive green. It's something we're going to have to cut back a little bit in the coming year. Probably here too. We've got a big butterfly bush which is now finished for the year. In fact, just about everything is done back in this area, with the exception of another celosia. Well, this one's even more in bloom than the other one. If I didn't know better, I would say it's almost a primary fall plant, but I don't think it is. A few marigolds left, although they are largely dying off. They've actually taken quite a hit just since last week. I think the rain and the cold probably did them in. It was down to, I think, 40 or 45 through a couple days during the week, and that is not usually, I don't know, too favorable for a lot of the plants down here. We do still have some clematis blooming, one little rose here. That's was a much larger knockout rose that was eaten by some animal recently. Same thing with this one. It's a white knockout. Came back a little bit, but not in a big way, unfortunately. And as we come back here, our big wisteria losing its leaves. It'll come back better than ever next year, although I do need to chop off some of its vines that have tried to take over our weeping cherry. And we're going to have a lot of work ahead of us come spring. But gardening is a lot of work. We're going to have to do a lot of work in this particular area too, because I've got a vine on my shoe. All these canna fell over during the hurricane, and they're done blooming for the year. The mass of plant material here is so great that I'm really going to have to come in and just chop these things down to the ground and haul them away, because they're just making a big mess, and they're not breaking down as much as I would like. So this terraced area is an area we don't see as much, so we don't tend to put in as much effort back here, unfortunately. But I think this coming spring, we're going to kind of be forced to make an effort to kind of get back to where we were 3 years ago or so, or when we put most of that in. We do have some nice blooms on our pink climber here. Not a lot, not like midsummer. We have 4 of those, all of them doing or have done very well. But I do believe this one up on the trellis here is finished for the year. We have a handful of plants. I even see a Virginia creeper up in there. So that's another vine we can add to our collection. Primarily it's jasmine and climbing roses up there, but they're just about finished for the year. So we'll come up to the house, see what we've got here, but I'm going to say probably not a whole lot. Few vinca. It looks like our big roses are about finished. I'm not seeing any more blooms. This marigold is still doing pretty well. I would say moderately well. I think the shorter days are really taking their toll. And last week we had quite a few clematis back in here. They seem to all be done. The roses are done. Tomatoes are pretty much done, I think. Again, we have some climbing rose blossoms here that are still going. Of course, the plant itself goes all the way up almost to the top of our railing, almost 10 feet in height. And just to finish up here, I'll show off what we have on the deck. We do have a couple of morning glories. Just when I think this one is done, it keeps putting out another 1 or 2 flowers here and there. Vinca, marigolds, and it looks like another little morning glory here. But these were all grown from seed back in the summertime. And again, these marigolds doing very well. They got lots of water this week, and they're hanging in there. Probably will for another couple weeks. But we're seeing a little bit of attrition each week as we go along. And that is pretty much it. So, as I say, we'll keep doing these videos until the at least the first frost. As long as there are flowers to look at, I'll do even just a quick video, but I can't think we're gonna do more than 1 or 2 more weeks. We'll see. But hope it's sunny wherever you are, and until next time, happy gardening.